Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Longshot, #1 in a 6-issue limited series. This marks Arthur Adams' debut at Marvel, and this is a very important comic and series, most especially for the art of the likes of Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld. So here in the bottom corner box we have a really cool illustration of Magog. That's him there as well. We have also here, or rather that's Gog and that's Magog there, his son, and we have Longshot and Magog up there in the top corner box as well. So a lot of work on this cover by Arthur Adams, who pencils and inks himself and always looks well when he's inking his own pencils. And the problem with this cover and some of the artwork, insofar as it is a problem, is there's a lot of detail here and it gets lost because of the color treatment on this cover and also inside in the issue itself. But the spotlight effect here, as well as the color holes, do have the virtue of putting the focus squarely on Longshot. So we get a good look at him here on the cover of the introduction of the character, his first appearance in the Marvel Universe. So let's open to the splash page, and we have the story begin in medias res, in the middle of things, starting with action. So the creative team here, Nocenti and Arthur Adams. Nocenti writer, Arthur Adams pencils, but they get co-creator credits. The inkers are Bill Anderson, Whilce Portacio, and Whilce Portacio has an ink assist from Scott Williams, uncredited here. Joe Rosen letters, Christy Shield on colors. So the first half of the issue is inked by Bill Anderson, and it's towards the end that Whilce Portacio comes in. So this is inked by Bill Anderson. The rest of the miniseries is inked by Portacio with assistance from Scott Williams. So as I said, the story opens in medias res, in the middle of things. Longshot is running away from troops who want him bad. He wishes he knows why. He has no answers to his questions. He's completely amnesiac at the opening of this story and throughout. So we have him running away from these characters and jumping through a dimensional portal with Magog jumping through the portal too, and some of these mutates coming after him. And then the narrative captions, I like the way that Nocenti does this, and they pause for an eternal instant held in that place where all has been and all is yet to become, and where the future is already the past. But here, Longshot emerges in upstate New York, and in the middle of a potential accident where this car is careering towards this old woman with her shopping there, falling out on the ground. He pops out of the portal. She thinks it's the Archangel Gabriel, and the car smashes into the side of this apartment building, and the head of this gargoyle comes off, and out comes a bag, a satchel full of hidden silver dollars, which rain down on the scene. So this is Longshot's introduction to Earth, and it's a lucky one, of course, and that will be revealed to be his special ability or power in the course of the issue. So here he is, acclaimed by the crowd. They all have their various thoughts about him, including the women there who are admiring his handsome features. But then he starts revealing that he doesn't know his name, he doesn't know where he is, and so the crowd starts to turn against him. Some of them begin to think that he's nuts, that he's a maniac, that he's schizo. So he runs away from them as the police officer there thinks he might be on drugs and moves to arrest him. And he runs down this street. It seems to be, it's the early morning, so he is blinded by the early morning sun, and then he looks at his own reflection in the window of Nocenti's deli. So a little Easter egg there from Arthur Adams. And he doesn't recognize his own reflection. That face, it's not quite me, is it? But whose? So he is totally amnesiac at the opening of this story. And then he's met by this man here, who turns out to be, his name is Elliot. He's a survivalist, and his visual design is, you tell me what you think. I think he looks like Rodney Dangerfield, the comedian and actor. So I'm pretty sure about that. Let me know what you think of that in the comments here. So Elliot takes Longshot under his wing a little bit, tells him that he saw the trick you did before. You busted the probability odds for sure. What a long shot. So it's going to be Elliot who comes up with a name for the character. Watch out they don't make you a hero. Visibility's too high. Ever need me? Head over that hill and up. Us survivalists must touch base once in a while. Now split up fast, they'll follow me. They hate me. So Nocenti likes to work in a little bit of social commentary, a little bit of politics, into her writings, into her comics. But I feel personally that she doesn't overdo it. She doesn't turn it into a didactic piece. That's my view anyway, because she gives Elliot a fairly rounded characterization in the course of this issue, even though it's clear that she wouldn't agree with his politics, let's say. And so Longshot here running down the street, and basically he sits down and thinks, what a great joke. I have no name. Oh, this is a riot. Who am I? Somebody must know. Somebody will tell me. I'll just sit here and wait till. And then he realizes he's outside of a building where there are these women, as he sees them in the window, a ladies' leather goods shop, and he thinks they're real people. So he starts addressing them and demands that they talk to him. So he goes into the shop, and the shop assistant there thinks that he's handsome, so all the women are falling for Longshot, but she has to explain to him that they're mannequins, they're not real. So Longshot here, who's really naive, shakes the hand of the mannequin and says here, not the warmest handshake, but the wrist spins. So then the woman gets him to try on the leather coat. He likes it, and off he goes. He doesn't even know what money is, and she thinks to herself, story of my life, if they're handsome, they're nuts. Guess I'll have to call the cops. So Longshot heads up to the hills where Elliot said he would be. I like this page. This is a nice page. There's a lot of crammed in storytelling and panels on the previous pages, the opening of the issue. And just at this point, there's a nice moment to breathe. Just 4 panels on the page. It's a nice break from all those 10 panel pages. So in the narrative captions, Nocenti writes, if you take a man, strip him of his name, his past, his identity, his purpose, his memories, what's left? Can he still stand? If pure soul is pure soul and spirit enough? And that's kind of the theme that she's exploring here with Longshot, and the idea to start him off amnesiac and write him as a pure and true-hearted character. In fact, he's got more than one heart, as it turns out. And then he hears this twig snapping in the bush and immediately springs into action. So we see him here using his flechettes, but he didn't throw them to kill this creature. This is Magog. And he knows Longshot. So he says, oh, you and your lucky shots. So we, the reader, are learning something about Longshot. And he says to Longshot, easy, I'm a friendly beast. And Longshot replies, sorry, I'm jumpy. I shouldn't go attacking a critter on his own turf. Funny, you look almost familiar. Guess it's the right planet after all. And the talking, what is he, some kind of like dog monster, says, do I know? Do you know how to get home? And he thinks to himself here privately. He's really confused. So Magog follows him along to Elliot's survivalist hut, no trespassing sign out front. Longshot says, I brought a friend. I like the detail of the barbed wire there too. And he's gone. So Elliot says, oh, a stray dog. No loss, probably rabid. Come on in. I'll show you the fort. So Elliot is a survivalist, and he's paranoid about nuclear war. So he's prepped for that. So he's got his whole fort here filled with everything he needs to survive a nuclear attack, which he's sure is coming. And he's got his like paranoid theories about how the trilaterals, Bell, Tell, and Con Ed, those slimy pirates are controlling things, and so on and so forth. And Longshot's here reading the newspaper, so he understands English and he can read. And he sees a story about a baby that was kidnapped, and he decides he'd like to get it back. So Elliot says, well, no one pays attention to petty crime. And then the alarm goes off, and he sees the a group, he thinks here, probably think one of us stole the brat. They're always out to get me, so it looks like police there. And Longshot decides the baby. All right, we'll save it. Babies are innocent enough, I think he says. Again, that looks very much like Rodney Dangerfield that Arthur Adams is using for photo reference. So Elliot gets into his action gear with his camouflage helmet and all the rest. He's got a pre-store there. Always make sure you have a way to sneak out the back, kid. All in keeping with his paranoia. And out they go. And so the woman whose baby was kidnapped is here all alone in her wrecked apartment. The kidnappers even shot her dog. And then Elliot and Longshot arrive. And Longshot says, Hester, don't fear me. I've come to help you. I'll find your baby. Tell me what you can bear to remember. And she says, they weren't human. They screeched in a garbled, psychotic mess of words. They took my baby and then they played the cruelest joke. They left this disgusting, lifeless doll. This hard, empty, dead, lifeless doll. It's got markings, I think, symbols. So this is interesting. This is like a kind of a dark twist in the issue. With this kidnapped baby. So Longshot now will get another insight into another one of his powers. He's got that luck power, but he's got something else as well. By the way, this page is now inked by Whilce Portacio. So we've moved into the section of the comic inked by Portacio, assisted by Scott Williams. So he says, I'll read the doll's past and future. And Hester thinks to herself, read the past? Oh no, he's crazy. And Elliot thinks, this crime is definitely the work of some pagan hippie cult. Black market baby sellers, perhaps. So again, interesting characterization from Nocenti as she plays around with these different kind of socio-political types. But as I've said before, I don't feel that she kind of has an agenda in relation to it. It's exploratory. That's always what I felt about Ann Nocenti's integration of socio-political themes into her writing, which is perhaps different from what people have been seeing in more recent years in the comics industry, where some writers have been a lot more overtly ideological in their insertion of socio-politics into the comics. So anyway, Longshot, it's interesting too. You see his left eye flashing as he uses his powers. We've got a color hold in the background where he sees one of these mutate beasts, and he thinks must be the planet's wild beasts. They're not quite awake, pre-conscious, stuck between worlds at a winged tower. So the location is it is one. It's a windmill. So here's Elliot. Elliot has the information. I won't ask you how you read your clues. Hold your secrets close if you have to. I got mine. Just lead us to the hippie cult. And he thinks to himself, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's interesting too how Nocenti in her writing here strikes a balance between what characters say overtly, they say aloud, and then what they're privately thinking. And that's something that she definitely picked up from Chris Claremont, I would say, because in this period, she is the editor on Uncanny X-Men. And so she's seeing how Claremont does it, and she's bringing some of that with her own twist and her own style to this particular issue. So off they go. Longshot is following an invisible yet palpable trail, the stench of the monsters. And Elliot here explains about the windmill. He says, I know what's down here, the old Indian burial ground, said to be dangerously sacred. Some nut built a windmill there once, wanted to capture the winds of ill repute. Some ion stream or something. He's dead now. Down through the years, there's been all kinds of metaphysical quacks going down there in search for the secrets of that place. They find nothing, usually end up dead. So, in the distance there, they see that they're being followed. Longshot sees it. And Elliot is ready to set a trap for them. So catches them all in this trap here. And off they go down towards the windmill. So let's see. Here we go. That's a nice establishing shot of the windmill. A lot of work there by Arthur Adams on that piece. And so Longshot here says, is that what beasts of the woods are called, monsters? I can't remember. This is some sort of ritual. Looks like they're fragmenting sound, sifting light to rip open space. How do I know this, he asks. As above, so below. Once the symbols align, spaces will open. So here are these monsters, these mutates, and they recognize Longshot, of course. Elliot is horrified, Hester too. And Longshot says, and this looks like it's photo reference, this image of Longshot with the smile on his face. Stay here and be brave. I'll get your child. Just watch me. So then he goes in bravely, tackles the mutates, slides through and past their attacks atop the towering windmill. The business is underway in terms of opening the teleportation door or the trans-dimensional doorway. And Longshot recognizes or realizes that they recognize him, but of course he's still amnesiac. And then we see up here Spiral for the first time, and she is helping to create the trans-dimensional doorway. So this guy says, continue your dance, Spiral, we're close. Vengeance enough to leave him behind, that's Longshot, with his mind wiped, never to know. So they're going to go back to Mojo World without taking Longshot with them and leaving him on Earth. And Longshot attacks one of them here, and the mutate says, he says, you forgot you can't touch me unless I want to be touched. So hurt a while. You stuck us between, but forgot the shifting power that gave us. A stray spark meets the wood tower, and together they make fire. The tower burns. So Longshot is repulsed, and the windmill now goes on fire. Gotta make sure, is this the next page here? I think so, yeah. So he falls into the bushes here where Elliot and Hester are waiting. Elliot helps him up, and Longshot says, I want to know who I am, and they know. But he realizes here, you're right, I got selfish. Something was wrong or missing. And Elliot says, gotta keep your motives pure, buddy. You can't trust luck to pull punches for you. And Longshot then has an epiphany, and he realizes that's it. Soon as I forgot the baby, I felt something slip away. I wasn't on anymore. I lost my way. I know how to do it now. So when he was focused on himself and learning who he was from the mutates he was fighting, and he lost focus on the quest to save the baby, he lost his luck powers. So he's putting it together himself now in terms of how his powers work. Here we've got Quark here, and Quark decides that he is going to go after Longshot to kill him. And Longshot's getting ready now to get back on the windmill and save the child. He says here the fire rages and the search party is free, so they're free out of that netting. At least they'll keep the demons below busy. Got to keep my eye on the baby if I can't even save one precious innocent life. So he's staying focused, or getting focused now, on the task, on what he's trying to do. This is some nice storytelling here from Art Adams. So he gets the grappling hook knotted, swings it around, and catches it onto the edge of the windmill, but it's kicked off by Gog here. And he says, we're free of him. All focus for final ritual. So they're hell-bent on getting that trans-dimensional gate open. And then in the narrative captions, sometimes if you believe hard enough, you can make the 1 in the 1 out of a million happen. So the grappling hook kicked off by Gog nevertheless catches on the side of the windmill. And here we see Spiral working that ritual. And Gog says here, continue the movement, Spiral, and we will soon be home. If only my son, Magog, were with us. So where's he? Well, he shows up here, and this is interesting. So Longshot is running across the rope over to the windmill, and he sees the mutates facing off against the rescuers there, the human rescuers. And this is Magog here, and he thinks to himself, he doesn't tie a very good knot. So the rope is slipping, and Longshot's about to fall off. And Magog ties the rope tighter. Somebody tightened the rope, Longshot realizes. You're welcome, buddy, he says. And then he thinks, sorry, I didn't help you kill this kid, Dad. I got my reasons. So Magog has got his own agenda, and that's interesting. So Longshot now continues swinging across the rope, gets onto the side of the windmill. The ritual there is winding up to its climax. It looks like Spiral's about to kill the baby girl with the blade that she's holding aloft. And Longshot, it is the long shot. And so he swings around this iron that he picked up at Hester's apartment, and he flings it through them. So he thinks they just fade away, they'll reform, but I've got the few moments I need. So he grabs the baby, puts the baby in his backpack, leaps off the side of the windmill. Remember, this is all linked by Whilce Portacio. And then he manages, he's walking across the rope, which burns, and he falls. So this is interesting too. We've got two wordless panels here, but the storytelling's good from Arthur Adams. So Nocenti keeps the words back, and he manages to catch the end of the rope and swing safely over to the cliff edge on the other side, and returns the baby to Hester. The baby's got these ritual markings on it as well, and of course she's delighted. And then the rescuers keep shooting at the mutates, but they fade away. The demons fade away, as Longshot says. So Elliot says, yeah, drive those cops crazy. They'll go to their graves wondering about this day and those critters. Wait a minute, I probably will too. And yeah, so the rescuers down there, the police, they think that Longshot must be the baby kidnapper. So not good for his reputation. And they come after him. So he has to get away. So Elliot says to him, you know, kid, you're as out of sync as this valley. Who are you anyway? And Hester asks him, says to him, I don't even know your name. But Longshot still hasn't remembered anything about his past. Call me whatever you like. And here Elliot dubs him, I call him Longshot. And she says, maybe, but well, his Longshot's work. So now he says it's time to say goodbye, but tells Hester not to forget about the miracles because she believed in him. And Elliot, he says, I hope the world doesn't blow up, even if that means you'll never get to test out your fallout shelter. So that's pretty good. But next time I pass through, I'll stop in and try that freeze-dried ice cream in his survivalist fort. And Hester says to him, and you'll stop in to see one little baby who owes you your life. So here we go, Rodney Dangerfield. That is definitely based on Rodney Dangerfield, yes? So he's all emotional at the end. I'll give you some advice, kid. You better get a hold of some money. It's the best unit of stored energy around, and it powers the whole planet. That's what you need, money. Now get out of here. He starts breaking down before the girl starts crying. That's hilarious. That's really good from Nocenti. So Longshot makes off. Money, huh? He thinks, well, first I find those demons. I've got a few questions to ask them. So this is all like a setup for the next issue when he becomes a stuntman, when he does start earning money. And here we have Magog tailing him and joining up with him and laughing at the name that he now has, Longshot. What a name. So Longshot, again, that looks kind of slightly photo reference too. That's what Elliot calls me. Longshot, should I keep it? Magog says, smart man, Elliot. Sure, keep it. That's what you are, a miraculous Longshot. You'll see. And Longshot asks him, hey, you got a secret? You know something about me? Nah, there are no secrets. And Longshot's not that naive. He thinks to himself here at the end, I better watch this guy. And so there you go. The first day of Longshot on Earth, dawn to nighttime, and what an adventure. And we learn a little bit about him, that he's got that ability to read inanimate objects for resonances, emotional, psychic resonances, and also that he's got his luck power, but it is effective only when his motives are true and pure. So a lot of work in the art here on this first issue. A lot of panels too on many pages. we'll see over time and over the course of the miniseries, Art Adams begin to simplify the storytelling in terms of panel numbers per pages, as well as the art itself developing. And as I said, like this at the end of the issue, the second half of the issue is inked by Portacio, assisted by Scott Williams, but you'll see their inking improve over the course of the miniseries too. So I always like seeing an artist develop when they're at the beginning of their career. One last point to make about Arthur Adams' influences, his own influences, very obviously a Michael Golden influence on Art Adams, and you can see it in this first issue too. So I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on issue 1 of the Longshot miniseries, cover dated September 1985. And if you enjoyed the video, please like it on YouTube, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.